Welcome, and thanks for joining us today. You're listening to the Women's Broadcast Television Network, and I'm your host, Shay Vaughn. WBTVN is the all-women's television network where content is actually created by women and for women. And joining us today on our WBTVN Expert Spotlight show, let me tell you a little bit about him. Founded by Chicago's native and Air Force veteran, Kristian Koshaba. Did I say that right?
Koshaba.
Koshaba. Okay. 360 Fit offers unique individualized classes and workouts based on cross-training, kickboxing, martial arts, flexibility, balance, and weight training techniques that are constantly changing and designed to maximize results. Thank you, Kristian, for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Well, I'm excited too because we're just in the same world together.
Oh, yes.
Been in fitness for a long time, especially in Chicago.
Fantastic.
And were you born and raised there?
I was. So just outside in the northwest suburbs. People would probably know of where Schaumburg, because that's the massive Woodfield Mall is over there, but I'm right next door in Elk Grove Village.
And okay, great. So tell me a little bit about yourself, growing up, what your passion was. What led you to what you're currently doing today and the success that you're having?
Well, growing up, I was always into sports and athletic, but tended to be one of the smaller kids growing up. So unfortunately, I was actually bullied very mercilessly by, I guess you can consider them my friends at the time, or at least what I had thought that they were. So essentially, yeah. So, just being made fun of just for having curly hair, being small, just ridiculous things like that, but obviously for a small child, it's pretty, it's tormenting. So I was just trying to find an outlet without going crazy. So I actually kind of stumbled upon martial arts where it was Taekwondo at first. And then for my 15th birthday, my brother Josh actually purchased a 1-year fitness membership for myself. And he kind of took me under his wing. And from there, after about that year, I hit a massive growth spurt and I came back my sophomore year and none of the kids, wanted to mess with me again. I'll tell you that.
Oh, wow. What a story that is. So Taekwondo.
Yeah. So
to which belt? How much?
Let's see. I would have achieved my brown belt. So that would have been about five to six belts in. I did that for roughly about 6 years. And then I got into more of like stand-up boxing, Muay Thai, which is the Thailand they call it the art of 8 weapons. So I got into that as well as the ground game, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and then kind of adopted my own mixed martial arts from that.
Right. I love the fact that they're mixing so many things, mixed martial arts now that a lot of guys and girls are taking. And
yes.
Really finding that it's not just about punching or just about kicking. It's about really the mixture that it really provides because it gives you a lot of different things that you can do and techniques that are, brought together to be able to help you as far as defense is concerned, taking care of yourself, especially women even as far as, being attacked. What are the options that they have for, getting out of that kind of situation?
Exactly. Yeah, I was actually going to touch up on it. It's not just so much the physical factor, it's the mental and emotional factor, more importantly, where it's just the empowerment, the confidence, the self-esteem that comes into play. Because after being bullied so long, the only thing I was hell-bent on was revenge. But upon achieving that status of confidence and just self-esteem, knowing what I was capable of, I really, I will never say I'm above anyone, but I held myself to a higher standard, not stooping to their level and just seeing what martial arts and fitness truly changed my life.
Yeah. Well, we had actually started taking a look, my husband did, because he had a son that has cystic fibrosis and they were doing a test on it and the two of them started together, made a huge difference in the lung capacity. As you know, kids or adults with that really suffer with breathing, digestion, all of those kinds of things. It's not a fun thing, but I got pulled into it for all the right reasons. And Danny, he actually had his black belt at the age of 10.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that amazing? He's an amazing kid. He was just everybody's hero because this kid tried so hard. and he did marathons and triathlons and whatever. So I totally can relate to you when you say, hey, you went through that stage in your life where you weren't as big as other kids and you felt smaller and whatever, and then all of a sudden you grew and you went out and you found sports that was going to basically help you, to be stronger, both mentally and physically.
Absolutely.
And then I took mine up to my black belt, and then I decided.
I won't mess with you then.
Yeah, don't mess with me. And my husband actually is a 3rd degree black belt. So we definitely believe in all of these, great sports and techniques out there. And they, more than anything else, I come from a dance background. I don't know what that has to do with any martial arts, but one of the things that I did learn about it, it teaches you such discipline. Mm-hmm. And that's the greatest thing that I think that you can have, is following through with things, showing up when you're supposed to, all of those good things. But anyway, so then did you do kickboxing also? Because I know that in the studio that you have in Arlington Heights there in Chicago, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I know Arlington Heights well because I lived in Chicago to raise my kids. So it's so great to have you on and talk about all those great things. So you balance both, weight training techniques and kickboxing and cross training. That's kind of talking my language. I get all that.
Oh, absolutely. And that's kind of the cool thing that you mentioned, the dance as well, and how that incorporates to martial arts. But it's funny because it does. A few of my clients, they were dancers growing up, and getting into my cardio kickboxing and everything else, they kept muscling it. I'm like, just be like water, flow with the movements. It's a dance. And then kind of once that clicked, it was like an overnight transformation where they just kind of delved back into their background of dance and treated it like a dance, almost like it was.
Well, and it is kind of like dancing with someone. You're just trying to stay out of their way rather than dance with them.
Yes, exactly.
Which is kind of, the same thing. But, and sometimes we just do a little bit more graceful than maybe someone else that has not had any, training in dancing. But, what just great skills. And if you can find something mentally, as you're saying, to be able to relate to so that it can help you to, do the moves and have an understanding of what somebody's expecting of you, boy, that can just open up your whole, your whole mind and everything, and your performance more than anything else.
Absolutely. And the thing I've tried to do with, especially with my classes, the cardio kickboxing, is that I tell people all the time, you're not just throwing your hands and kicking aimlessly. There's a reason to it. I break down the actual techniques and the background of the martial art. And then I also get the fitness involved, where you're doing circuit training on bags and holding pads for each other. And then the next round, you could be doing kettlebell swings. You can be doing squats, et cetera, et cetera. So I try and mix the best of two worlds into one. So people really love that class.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. And I know that you also provide really more of a revolutionary, holistic approach to everything that you're doing. So explain how you mean that, though.
So essentially kind of how my thought process started. A few years back, I worked at a wellness facility that, they were all about that holistic approach. And I worked hands-on with an MD, a chiropractor, and a fellow kinesiologist. And we kind of sat at our round table and discussed ideas of how to template and formulate exercises for specific clients, rather than just force feeding them pills and hoping and praying that they're going to get better. We're actually doing something about it, more the preventive maintenance and the aftercare, just to keep you out of the office. So that's kind of how I brought up that appreciation to it, the mind, body, spirit, as cliche as that is, but truly finding, someone's trigger points and what will inspire them the most, and just tying in together.
That's what that connection with your clients is really all about. Is as trainers, we have the responsibility to really find a way to connect with them that they feel comfortable, that they can understand, and everybody is different. Yes. And so when you're able to do that, that's about as organic as you get, because it's not about one shoe fits all.
Exactly.
Everybody comes from, different backgrounds and fear of certain things in their lives and whatever. And the more you can kind of like understand that and have them open up to what it is that, that they're, maybe a little, shy about or scared about or just, not quite sure. And the more that you can talk them through those kinds of things on a personal basis, boy, what a great connection and relationship that builds. Absolutely. They're going to trust anything you tell them after a while.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing too is finding empathy. I found a lot of people truly don't empathize with others, step into their shoes. And what I do is I try and break the ice first. Everyone is already coming in here intimidated as be. It's a big gym. They see everyone sweating, working out. So they already don't want to be here. So I break the ice by telling them something personal about me, whether I was bullied or even 5-6 years ago, I suffered a horrific hand injury. I was told I would never use my right hand again. I came back through that via willpower and everything like that. And even the therapist said they have never seen someone make such, a recovery like that. So I try and show them my weakness just so that, hey, Kristian Koshaba isn't Superman. I try and be, but this is me being human. This is my weakness. Now, let's bridge that gap.
Well, that must be why everybody says that you, Kristian, you go beyond your fitness, empowering people to other aspects of their life, like helping to reduce stress and, whatever their journey is, to help them on that journey to be healthier. And then when they get off track, which we all do, the key to that is really getting back on track.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you do in those areas.
So essentially, I use the trans-theoretical model of change. So to kind of delve into that, there's really 5 stages of this. And I tell people, for instance, I always use our New Year's resolutions as an example here.
I use that all the time too.
Yes.
Craziness. You just keep making the same,
Yeah.
I'm going to give up smoking, or I'm going to lose, 30 pounds or whatever it happens to be. 2 weeks into it, you've forgotten it. And next year you're doing the same thing.
Exactly. So, the definition of insanity, we do the same thing over and over, trying to get different results. So, and I tell them, guys, you fail by not setting yourself up for success. And by doing so, they try and think that they want change, and then all of a sudden take action overnight. And they have a list of about 20 different things that they want to change, but have really no reasoning why they want to, how they can achieve that level, and just the steps that we need to take. So breaking that down, again, there's the 5 steps. There's the pre-contemplation. These are the people, I always call this the denial stage, where how often,
which most of them, that's where they are.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because about 90% of the population is here. How often do we, even as loved ones, approach our loved ones and say, honey, or, baby, I think there might be an issue. Can we address it? And then immediately that defensive wall flies up. No, it's your issue, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of our denials.
You've experienced that too, huh?
Oh, yeah. Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, exactly. But that's so true. So you're trying to, so that first one is contemplation. You're contemplating about things that you want to accomplish or things that you want to do. So that's thinking about it ahead of time.
Essentially, yeah.
Some kind of a plan together so you can actually get to the contemplation part of it.
Yes. Now, that's where the next stage jumps into a contemplation, where we begin weighing the pros and cons. Now, for instance, is weight loss going to be more important than me getting my daily frappuccino, macchiato, whatever this craziness that everyone gets at Starbucks or eating at McDonald's every day?
It costs a lot of money.
Yes, exactly.
For you, what are we thinking? It's warm and it's cozy, and I have to have it.
Exactly. So
I
it's
wonder
funny.
if you're going to be saying that in about 20 years from now, or even 10 years.
So the thing that it's funny because I always fall back to a quote from Tupac Shakur, actually. So if you want something that you've never had, you must do something that has never been done. So I keep going back to that with my clients. This is our contemplation, because so often they say, Kristian, I want to lose 20 pounds and I want to have a better relationship, and I want to love myself more. But I'm unwilling to put down that Starbucks. I'm going to continue to eat the way I have. I'm going to continue hanging out at certain settings or places or friends. And I'm unwilling to give up that, but I want all the good stuff that's going to come with change and growth. So that's kind of where now.
Well, let me just have this little magic wand that's going
to take So then they always kind of come back to me and say, well, why aren't I losing weight? Or, they get upset. I'm like, well, let's kind of go back and see what you weren't willing to change, expecting change. So that's kind of now our second stage. Then the next, what you were referring to, is now our planning and preparation.
Exactly.
So this is actually the most important stage of all, even more important than action, because again, once we get to action, if we don't have a plan or prep, we're going to fail regardless. So with that planning and prep, this is this is verbalizing to people. Make that intent, verbalize it. You want to hear it as well and put it out there. We live in the age of technology. Blast it on social media. Hey guys, I'm taking this next step on this day that I'm going to make this change. I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to get into the gym. So, that's going to kind of hold you accountable. And I also say financially make the equipment, because how often, if you're not accountable to yourself, you're going to be accountable to money. People are always worried about money. So,
exactly.
So if they throw down that down deposit, say for a personal trainer or a gym membership, $500 or so, they're going to have that always running through my mind and hold themselves accountable. I need to go there because of the money. But then eventually, habitually, it's going to become, I need to get there because now I see, the amazing, change and growth that is, being taken place now. So again, that is the most important step. And once we get to our action, really that's our shortest stage. That lasts anywhere between 1 month and 6 months. And it can be an overnight action too. So now I would say the second most important stage now is getting to our maintenance. So this can be anywhere from 6 months all the way to a lifetime. People think that once you've taken action, it's done, where that is completely false. Maintenance, it is literally 24 hours a day. You are constantly planning. We go back to our planning and preparation each and every day. So a lot of the times with me, with my growth and my change, you can never really swap out one habit for, you just can't break it. You need to, fill the gap there. So really what I always do is I kind of go back to how I felt during that stage prior to my change, and just, again, look at the amazing things, count my blessings, everything that has come from it, and stay out of those settings that led me to that bad behavior in the first place. So with maintenance, it's constantly, that's where kind of I'm always coming into play, text messaging them, making sure that they're motivated, constantly in that maintenance mode.
Well, that in itself just tells how caring you are and how much you're a cheerleader, not just a trainer, for your clients, because you want to know, are they doing the right thing, that you're there, and that they need to be accountable to you, because they know you're going to be texting them or calling them or being in touch with them and seeing what their week is going like, and trying to keep them on track.
Absolutely. And half the time they're dreading that text message or call, but again, afterwards they thank me like, Kristian, I either was going to eat that or I wasn't going to go to the gym until you texted and called me, because it is that accountability piece.
Exactly. And by doing that too, you help them to really change the bad habits to the good habits. And that is just, tell yourself you're going to do it. Don't let your brain talk you out of it. And just know that you're doing the right thing. And when you continue to do that on an ongoing basis, to make that right choice and that decision to show up, because that's the biggest part of it, show up, then the rest of it will fall into place.
I absolutely agree. And I always tell them the hardest step is walking through the door. The rest is going to take care of itself. It's just that leap that everyone fears so much. And we always say, I'm so scared of failure. What if I fail? Well, guess what? You failed in the first place by not even trying. So now you're stuck in failure mode.
Yeah. And that is so true. And then they'll say, I say, well, it's going to take some, perseverance on your side to get through this too, because the truth of the matter is, if it was easy, you'd already have it down.
Yes.
So don't walk through that door thinking, don't not walk through that door, thinking that it's going to be easy, because you're going to have to put some hard work into it.
Absolutely.
But you'll gain from that, and you'll become more mentally, both of us know that the two things that most people, need to work on is definitely working out and then nutrition. They do go hand in hand. There isn't a person out there that you would sit down and talk with. They'd say, well, do you know what to do? And of course they go, I don't, but they do. And they know, and if you talk to them enough, they're going to say, well, I need to change my, eating habits a little bit, maybe a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but little bits at a time. And that's the key to it too. And then just don't play the game. I'll go to the gym in the morning and I don't do that. So I'm going to go at night, and at night I don't do that. And so I'm going to go in the morning again. And you just play this, this game with yourself. It's not going to be easy,
Absolutely.
but it gets easier, and you love the results and how you feel and the health that you gain from this, that you're just knocking down the doors. Why aren't they open earlier than 5 o'clock in the morning? Stay open all night, the gym, right? I love that. So who can do this?
Truly, this can really apply to anyone. Again, I mean, originally this model was made for addiction behavior. So whether it be alcoholics or cigarette smoking, this can be applied to any behavior change. So whether it be, again, now we want to start our programming for exercise, now we can apply this model to that. You want, even for a relationship with your boyfriend, girlfriend, we can apply this to that, because, hey, we're now going to sit down, we're going to weigh the pros and the cons of making this work or not making it work. And then from there, we're going to take necessary steps of action. But prior and most important, this is our planning. How are we going to do so? Let's write it down. Let's visualize it. Let's verbalize it. Let's hear it. And that's the thing. People need to use all 5 senses to really grasp what it is to truly change and grow.
Right. They do. And I think, what's important too, and is that you take the approach of, you're not alone. I'm here. You're going to hear from me whether you want to or not. I love that one.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to be your cheerleader. I'm going to help you through this. You're not alone with that. And I think those words alone just are so heartfelt by everyone that knows that somebody cares.
Absolutely. And that's really all we want is someone to care, and once we have the empowerment that we feel is amazing.
That's so true. And so how does this work? How does this whole package work? They walk in the gym. What's the first thing that you put them through? Is it sitting down and talking with them, finding out what they're, why they're there? What's their, what do they want to do as far as their goals are concerned? So what do you do? I walk in the gym. I want to lose some weight. I'm living a terrible lifestyle. I need help.
So essentially what I will do is I will offer free consultations. So again, we'll walk in the gym, I'll sit you down, and just the biggest thing is, again, just that icebreaker, making you feel welcome, because I never want you to walk in here intimidated, feeling like you're forced to be there. So
right.
Comfortable. Again, I lay out my weakness. This is why I am here. This is why I'm able to help you. So from there, that's when we start identifying, okay, why are we here? What caused this? And that, a lot of times people really don't know until you ask them, and then you almost have to ask that question. And then from there you begin, all the open-ended, questions, really delving further and further. And by the time they know it, they were the ones to figure out, because so often they come for us for help, thinking that we are just going to give them the magic wand, like you said, but change comes from within. So by identifying, all the reasonings why and truly breaking them down to the very core of it, now we can, uproot all of these, behaviors that we are not comfortable with that led us to our current state. So by doing so, from there, we'll go into our short-term goals. Again, this could be tomorrow. This could be a week from now. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to go see you, or tomorrow I'm going to go buy more exercise clothes. So now I can, again, financially get in that mindset. From there, we'll establish long-term goals. So how do we take our short-term goals now into longevity and more of a lifestyle change? Because I always tell people, this is not about change, and these aren't diets and fads and whatever. This is a lifestyle. You need to live it. You need to smell it. You breathe it.
Absolutely.
From doing so, from there, again, I help them to identify. And again, with goal setting, that's the biggest thing is people always have these goals. They say, okay, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to change. You need to specify your goals and break it down to the very first thought process of this, and just for instance, I was speaking with, a client of mine. He's 15 years old. And I even said, okay, what are you interested in? And he's like, okay, to go to college. I'm like, okay, so what do we want to do from there? And then again, he really didn't know. It's always the thought process, okay, I want to do something, but why? How do we get there? So on and so forth. So after the session, he's like, oh my goodness, here I thought I, wanted to go to college for this reasoning, but now this is the true reasoning. And we did that in the span of 15 minutes by just delving that out of him.
Yeah.
So doing that, and then from there we start, establishing a short-term plan. Again, we never rush it because I'm helping them walk through this trans-theoretical model. So
of course,
we identify the planning, the prep, the contemplation. Are the pros now outweighing the cons? And I'm going to slowly but surely walk you through there. So because again, we never want this to be a New Year's resolution where it's going to fail. I'm never going to set you up for failure. So people always come in for the instant gratification of change, but I say, Rome wasn't built in a day. You got to this state by 35x years on Earth. It's not going to be an overnight process. A garden wasn't, bloomed overnight. So, I just always have to establish that line of thinking for them. A lot of the time it's the mindset more than physically. I establish the mindset. I get them geared up, ready to go, and then from there I just keep, fueling their fire by that accountability piece, constantly empathizing with them and just encouraging them and empowering them to continue.
Great. Well, I love what you're doing to help other people. I love your passion. It comes through when you're talking, and I know you love what you're doing, that you've really found that dream of yours. And
yes,
you're doing that dream. It's so much easier to get up in the morning when you're doing that.
Yes.
So how can everyone get in touch with you? And if somebody's not in Chicago and they want your help, what do they do?
So you can actually visit my website. So that's www.360fit.training or .com. It's a different domain there. You can also email me at Kristian@360fit.training, or even call me on my cell phone. It's on my website. If everyone needs to know, 847-767-7423. I can do online services via Skype, FaceTime. You name it. We can be across the world and, we can sit down and have a conversation.
Of course. Right.
So again,
that's what's so beautiful about all of these great things that we put together is that there's a way to connect, just like we're connecting right now. I'm here in LA and you're in Chicago, and most of the time I'm glad I'm not in Chicago because of the weather, but I love Chicago. love it. But there's a way to be able to help and to give good advice that someone can follow on a day-to-day basis. You don't need to be there with them. And so that's another way that they can seek help from you.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What's your big wisdom words that you want to leave me with right now?
Wisdom words. Let's see. One thing I was, it's funny because you mentioned the perseverance. So I'm a very spiritual person myself. So last summer I actually got baptized, and my word for my baptism was perseverance. So it's always going to be darkest before the dawn. You always just take that step forward. Change and growth. It's trials and tribulations, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the most rewarding thing in the world. So always one thing per day, do something that you weren't going to do yesterday because they're going to start piling up. So perseverance is key, and just always keep just small things. Small things add up, and just, keep changing towards growth and change. It's an amazing thing once you achieve it.
Absolutely. And then you never want to give that back. You never want to go back to where you are. And you've actually learned habits that are sustainable. And that's one of the keys too. And that's really what you've been talking about all along, is that sustainability to make those changes, organically, walking through those and just keep building on that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being with me today. And I definitely want to welcome or thank our audience for being with us today. And if you're interested in being on the Expert Spotlight show, go to wbtvn.tv. There's a form, fill it out, and we'll get in contact with you. Kristian, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm coming to the gym when I come to Chicago.
Yes, please do.
Knocking on your door. We'll do TikToks or something. Excellent. Anyway, until the next time, take care, everyone.